of China is celebrating 100 years with a symposium in Abuja with the theme Communist Party of China at 100, Trajectory, Achievements and Prospects. What are the lessons to Nigerian political parties?
The lesson is clear that the Chinese have shown that it's important to build institutions. It's important to have resilience and for nations to be steadfast in spite of all the challenges. Interestingly, we should be talking of 1988 years of party formation in Nigeria, because the first political party in Nigeria was formed in 1923 by the late Abat Macaulay. That's the Nigerian National Democratic Party, and which is just about 2 years, after the Communist Party of China was formed. But unfortunately, we had problem of military intervention in our governance, which truncated the First Republic. We also returned back during the Second Republic. That process was truncated. And I think all of us should resolve that the road to development is democracy and that we need to build institutions, and political parties are very, very critical for development. Then the second point which the Chinese have made is that the greatest human resource, or the greatest resource in any society, is human resource, human capital. The Chinese have shown that there's beauty in size as a country. There's also the beauty in population. 1.5 billion people. Chinese have shown that you can turn population to a big asset.
I think there's a need for China to hold the government to the standards which you are using in your country to run your affairs, so that going forward, all these developments, all these investments will not come to naught. Because if you do not have a government that is disciplined, that demonstrates zero tolerance for corruption, that is engaged in good governance in all its ramifications, believe you me, all this investment, all these things that you are doing for Nigeria, and also for other African countries, believe you me, to come to naught. Because what you will have is a situation where you will have people, instead of loving you as the donor or the giver or the helper of the people, they will perhaps begin to hate you, because they will not see the difference between you and who they now see as their oppressors. So I think China has to do a little bit more by finding ways by which you can reach out to your host governments, especially in Africa. Africa needs you, no doubt about that, because we share a lot in common. If we look at your history, we look at the history of Africa, we know what poverty means. And I think you have things that you can do, not only the bread and butter issues. We're talking about the governance, the sensibility, how people we have in government are treating our people. They don't demonstrate love for the people. They don't demonstrate that they love their country. They don't demonstrate that they are proud of their country. They don't demonstrate that people matter. And all the things you have told us is that you are proud of your country, you believe people matter, that you even have multi-party system in China. Although CPC is the most dominant party, but you extend the hands of fellowship to other parties. You listen to them, you sit down with them, you discuss. I don't know when last this government in power today sit down with the parties we have in Nigeria. That has never happened. So which means they do not even regard those that are equal, in terms of stake, in terms of governance, to them. Otherwise, President Buhari should have been inviting other political parties. Come, have dinner with me, or let me even sit down with you. Let me listen to what your ideas are. That's what you say you are doing. And that's what has been responsible for the sustenance of your programs and the success of the government in reducing or, in fact, eliminating extreme poverty, as you said. it couldn't have happened unless you have people who buy into your ideas. And the only way people can buy into ideas is if they know that you really have genuine love for the people. The people, what is happening in Nigeria, especially in the area of insecurity, I have not heard what role China is playing in us surmounting this cankerworm, I mean this scourge of insecurity.
Establish a consultative mechanism among the parties and help build consensus on key issues of development and national strategic goals. Try to give Nigerian content to liberal democratic process by processing our indigenous efforts, reflecting our values in order to build inclusive institutional platform. Strive to develop capacity, and this is not just to win election. Develop capacity to govern the party according to strict rules and develop a body of principles that constitute the party outlook and interrogate it steadily to update and distill policy options that respond to practical and tangible needs of the people. Seek pragmatic cooperation with the CPC and engage in mutual experience sharing and learning. I can assure you that the CPC is still learning and will be glad also to gain from your own insight. There are many more in the CPC experience that can add to value of party building and governance, but it's important to note that political parties play far more roles than just winning elections. It must develop more foresighted perspective on problem solving, which should transcend periodic electoral calendar. As we felicitate with our friends, Chinese friends, on the centenary of the CPC and its achievement, our purpose of this meeting is not basically, it's more importantly to reflect our own condition and re-energize our political parties to assume their historic role in ameliorating the dire situation of our people.
China and Nigeria have enjoyed a strong development on the basis of mutual respect, mutual trust, mutual support over the past 50 years. Both sides cherish the friendship, respect each other's core interests and major concerns, and uphold the principle of non-interference in internal affairs. This is not only Chinese foreign policy, this is down in the UN Charter. Non-interference, I have the feeling sometimes the big power, smaller countries, big countries, the interference of others' internal affairs really could create more chaos, the pandemonium. So this is Chinese non-interference policy. I think that you have know something about China. So we think that non-interference policy is very, very important for all sovereign countries. The mutually beneficial China-Nigeria economic and trade relations have enjoyed a robust development. The scale and the areas of cooperation continually expand, and the modes of cooperation have been diversified. Projects like Abuja-Kaduna Railway, Guangdong Free Trade Zone, currency swap, satellite launching, and joint marine scientific exploration are the first of its kind in Africa. This is done by my predecessor. I just mentioned the projects that we are taking the lead of the whole African continent. At the beginning of this year, His Excellency Mr. Wang Yi, State Councilor, Foreign Minister of China, paid a very successful visit to Nigeria in the face of challenges posed by the pandemic. He had an audience with His Excellency President Buhari and held talks with His Excellency Foreign Minister Oniyama. The two sides summed up the successful experience of development of bilateral relations in the past 50 years and jointly formulated a blueprint for the future. Several days ago, I went to Lagos and witnessed the completion of Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge railway. I saw the people beside the railway. They are celebrating. This is Nigeria's railway. We are taking the lead in the African continent. I'm very moved. I say that the people are celebrating, are shouting, "Oh, railway!" So the 157 lines at the first modern double-track standard gauge railway in West Africa was built by Chinese leading company CCECC. Ladies and gentlemen, we have difficulties. Really, the workers are still working there. Even we meet a insecurity situation, the company is committed to implement, to perform their duty. So they are intended to be the flow of goods and the people and from Africa's large city and Nigeria's inland territory.
Gbemiga Olamikon reporting for GTV Africa.